Have you ever seen one of those signs? Maybe they're posted up on one of those telephone poles or just a stake in the ground, and it says, "We buy houses cash," or "Sell your home quickly cash," or maybe even a billboard that says the like. Hi, my name's Pierre. I'm a local licensed realtor in 2 states and also an investor, if you didn't know that. And I have some advice for you today if you're considering selling your home for cash. Now, I'm going to walk through some of the reasons that might be a good idea and some of the reasons it might not be a good idea. Let me say this. The advice I give in this channel is only for your best interest. As a realtor, I have a fiduciary responsibility to my clients, and while you are not a client, I am a man of integrity, and my hope is that this video will provide you with the guideline you need to start making that decision if you are considering selling your home for cash. Now, I don't want you to get ripped off. I want you to make a decision that is best for you. And let's be honest, some situations may work for one person and not for another. So the advice I'm going to give here today, and the guidance actually, maybe not advice, I'm not telling you what to do, but the guidance I'm going to give you today is going to be based on your own personal values. There are cases in which selling your home for cash, quote unquote, is a better option. And there are other cases in which it's not ideal. But how do you make that decision? Sometimes you're going into it as a seller and you're just, trying to get out of a situation, but you don't really know all your options. So today I'm going to give you those options. I want to tell you a story though, as I start this out, because I had a car that really was very faithful to me. It was a Toyota Camry, and it was one of my first cars. And eventually it had some car trouble and it ended up in this parking lot of local BJ's parking lot. And it was near a time when I didn't have a lot of resources and didn't have a lot of means, and I actually let it sit in this parking lot for a long time. It's the truth. The truth is the truth. So while I was sitting in that parking lot, I eventually got enough wherewithal to sell this thing and get it out of there. And I sold it to some guy for cash. Didn't get a lot of money. I told a friend who helped me with the deal, I said, look, I'm just going to put this in the stock market and see what happens. It'll be better than, spending that money. But for me, it was the right solution because I was done with the car. I mean, to get anything out of it, really just to get it out of that parking lot and not get fined or sued or whatever else could happen by keeping my car in a parking lot that wasn't mine, and just, it was there for, let me not say how long. In any case, it was a quick solution for a problem that I had, and I didn't really need that money, but I was better off having that money than not having that money or actually getting fined and having it cost me. So there's a situation, it's not identical to selling a home, but where I myself personally saw the need to sell something quickly for cash. Going to why selling your house for cash may just make sense. I'm going to give you a few reasons why it may make sense and some why it might not, so that you can walk through this. I made this video to be a lifesaver, a time saver, and so you're not getting scammed. You could be watching this somewhere around the globe, or at least around the country in the US, where I may not currently be doing business, and you'll know that I'm not giving this advice to get you to do business with me. I'm giving this advice to be a good human being, helping out the world and the internet in some small way, shape, or form. So with that being said, let's get into it. What are the reasons you might want to sell your home for cash? Number one reason, your house needs major work, and that's major with a capital M, meaning there is a lot of stuff in your house and it's just accumulated over time. Maybe it's not even your house. Maybe you kind of inherited it. Maybe you are an executor to a will, and there's just so much stuff in your house. And look, there's no shame here. I got stuff in my house that I don't want to have too. But the reality is you got a lot of stuff, or you got a really old house. Nothing's been updated since, the 70s, and you have just ugly stuff all around. And the problem with that is, for many people, they don't have the time, the effort, energy, wherewithal, passion, drive, whatever. I can give you a list, a lot of things, but usually the money is the big one, and time to really redo that house in such a way that makes sense to then sell it. And if that is you, that may be one serious reason to sell your home for cash, because cash buyers are investors who are looking for a deal. And I have another full disclosure here in a minute, but they're looking for a deal and they're willing to do the work that you may not be willing to do or wanting to do in this season of your life as a home seller. So that's very important to know. Now, for full disclosure, I am an investor. I do buy homes. I do invest in homes. In fact, before I was a realtor, I was an investor. I got in that way and I was looking for deals. In fact, there was a season of my life where I was what's known as a wholesaler. And a wholesaler is someone who seeks to find people who are looking to sell their home for cash and then doesn't necessarily buy it, but gets it under contract. We would say back in the day, lock it up. And this is some insider information. And we would lock it up and then pitch that deal out to buyers. And we would add some margin on it, 5,000, 10,000, depending on who you are as a wholesaler, 7, 8, 10, 15, who knows, depending on the property as well. And these cash buyers who were investors would buy it from you and you would get the margin that you marked it up. So just so you know, this is maybe going out of order what I planned. You need to know whether or not the person, if you are in this place where you're looking to potentially sell your home for cash, is the person actually the buyer themselves? That's a good question. I would put that at the top of your list of questions to ask anyone who's proposing that they're going to buy your house for cash. Are you the buyer yourself or are you a wholesaler? I would be blunt about that. I would look them in the eye and say, are you the buyer yourself? Do you have the cash to buy this, or are you a wholesaler looking to sell the contract, or to assign is the actual word, to assign the contract to somebody else? That's worth it. Sip my coffee here. Why is that important? If they're a wholesaler, that means they have given you a price that actually gives room for someone else to make more money, which means that your house could sell for more if you found that cash buyer outside of the wholesaler. I'm not saying don't use wholesalers. I have many friends who are wholesalers. They do good business for the people who need such a service. Next, number one is you can't make the repairs or don't want to make the repairs. Number two is you need money fast. And this one's tough because your home may have equity, your home may have money that is available, but it's not available because, let's say you have a home that's worth $300,000 and you only owe $100,000. So in essence, you got $200,000 of cash or equity sitting in your home. Where is it? I often tell people, where is it? Is it in the brick and mortars? You can't find it. Where is it? Is it underneath is it in the roof, in the rafters, in the attic? Where is it? So you want to access that cash. Now, there are other ways to access that cash, such as a home equity line of credit. You won't be able to access 100% of it, but you can access, if it's your primary residence, anywhere from 80 to 90% based on the bank that you use. But that, again, will require a little time, and it will require you to have a fair enough, decent enough credit report and financial backing that you're able to do that with a bank. But maybe you're not in that situation and you just need to sell it fast. You're relocating, or you're going through a divorce, or there's financial pressures, or you're trying to avoid foreclosure, or you've inherited a property and you need the money fast. You need it fast. Those are the two big reasons. Number one is the house needs a lot of work. Number two is you need the money fast. And by fast, I mean probably less than 60 days, even less than 45. If the person proposing to buy is the real deal, they could do it in 30 or less. Now, I don't know all states how it works, at least where I'm at, within 30 days by the time they run title and, align everything. There probably could be another video, maybe I'll create that, of all the closing costs to consider and the questions to ask if you decide to do that. But let me instead shift gears and tell you when not to sell your home for cash. These are the pillars of the main ones. Now, there's some other nuance and maybe other ideas that we could add, but I'm going to give you the main ones. Number one is your house is in good shape. Your house is in good shape. You might be living there. You might not be living there. This might have been, again, an inherited house, but for all intents and purposes, someone could live there. Someone could move in there. And not that you don't have furniture and some belongings there, but it's not a mess. I mean, maybe there's a nice way to say that, but it's not a mess, and maybe it's not fully upgraded, but it's a decent condition. Maybe there's a bathroom here, or the kitchen wasn't updated, but everything's working. It's functional. You don't have holes in your roof. You don't have major issues with the heating or cooling. You basically have a functional house. If it's in good shape, and you're not in a rush, you don't need the money yesterday, Those two things are, I guess, the counter arguments to why you would sell for cash, which is you have a lot of things that need to be fixed in the house. And number two is you need the money. The third reason is this. It's a strong seller market, meaning houses are going, let me put it to you this way. Let me put it to you in economic terms of buying supply and, what am I looking for there? It is supply and demand. Supply and demand. There are more buyers in your particular market than there are sellers, so the prices are going up. If you're in a seller market and your home's in good shape, you don't need the money right away, it might be worth working with a realtor instead, because you're going to get more money at the end of the day. In most cases, you're going to get more money working with a realtor. Now, a realtor is going to have their own fees, but remember that the fees that a realtor is charging may very well be less than the margin that a buyer, an investor, a cash buyer is getting by kind of lowballing you and giving you a lower price. So let me give you a for instance. Let's say your house could sell for $300,000, and let's say a cash buyer comes by and says, I'll give it to you for $250,000. You're already $50,000 behind in what you could receive for that home. If you put it on the market and sold it for $300,000, you might have to give a certain percent. And as a realtor, I'm not really allowed to say what percent that is, but you could ask a local realtor what percent they would charge, I guess is the best way to make it simple for the buyer and the seller, and what arrangement. But whatever that percent is, if you subtract that percent from $300,000, you're probably still going to land well above $250,000. So what I'm saying there is you can make more money if you sell it in a traditional way. Warnings, things to watch out for. Here's some red flags, warning signs, things to watch out for if indeed you are going to go the route or considering the route of cash buyers. Number one is no proof of funds. If someone says, I'm going to buy your house for cash, you say, before we go any further, I want to see a proof of funds. It's not wrong. It's not rude. It's your right. You will probably sort out wholesalers from cash buyers really quickly here, because a wholesaler doesn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy your home. They just got a contract. They don't have the money. Number two is they change the price at a later time. They try to get you at one place and say, oh, well, we calculated this and we need this to do that. And no, don't fall for that. Don't fall for it. Number three, they say they want inspections, and then they start to look for credits. If you're going to sell it for cash, they need to take it as is. They also need to put some money down. So you need to ask, are you going to put any money in escrow for this deal? And where is that money going to be held? And that, again, is a state-by-state thing. I don't know how it's held. In some places, it's held by the title company. In some places, it's held by the attorney. But if they say, oh, we're going to hold it ourselves, warning sign. And look in the contract. They're going to have to provide a contract. Tell them you want to see it. You don't want to just see it, online. You want to see a physical copy. You say you need a day, a week, whatever you need. Don't be rushed by anyone to read it. And look in there if there's any verbiage around assigning the contract or assignments. If they're a wholesaler, you will clearly see that language. And just be cautious of any pressure tactics. You are not pressured to do anything. You are a free human being, free will that God has given you. Don't fall under pressure. Oh, we need to do it by this or that. No, those are pressure tactics. Don't do it. How would I personally handle this? Listen, this is the goal. Here's my philosophy. You might have, in any situation in life, actually, you have options. That helps me too. I have options. Good affirmation of the day. I have options. You might want to repeat that. So, option one, if selling for cash truly makes sense, okay, great. If you need the money fast, you don't want to pick up the house and make the changes, and you have a reliable cash buyer who shows you proof of funds, it might be a good option. Option two, you could list it and probably make more, which brings up a whole other story in another video. How do you choose your realtor? I will cover that as well. And sometimes, when I meet with a seller, I give them both options personally, because I am an investor, and maybe I'm not interested in buying their home personally, but I know other investors and I know I can get the deal done. And it would be good if you found an investor-friendly realtor who might be able to give you 2 options or 3, because then, you can weigh them out. I can list it at this price, give you a cash price here, or maybe some alternatives in between. Here's what I would ask you to do. Consider this video as a good friend giving you good, friendly counsel. I have nothing to gain out of this. If you found me somewhere on the internet and were searching around, should I sell my house for cash, or what you were searching and you found it, this is a gift to you. I'm not here to sell you. I am a realtor. I am able to help you if you are local to me. Feel free to reach out if you have any other questions. I'd be happy to help you with no obligation, at least maybe exchange a couple emails, not necessarily giving you advice or counsel from any legal standpoint, but maybe give you my experience as a person who is and has been a wholesaler, is an investor, and is a realtor. I think I know a thing or two about this. Not a boast, but just the reality. So talk to someone who is reliable. Hopefully this helped you. Call or text me anytime, and be sure to watch the next video. God bless you.